Hey guys, I'm Heintje, and I know I've been away for a while. I've been out with an injury, but I'm able to ride my bike again, just in time for the bike park season. To kick off the season, I went to Greenhill. I had a fun day, but most of all, a safe day. I know mountain biking is all about pushing your limits, although sometimes it's better to just have fun and stay within your comfort zone. That's what this video is going to be all about, a fun day at Greenhill Bike Park. I hope you enjoy. After I've ridden a downhill bike for half a year, it was best to start off easy and get the feeling of the bike back. Jonas and Pablo is a great trail for this. If you have seen the video on Greenhill I made last year, you might remember that I thought Jonas and Pablo was a bit boring. Back then the conditions were very wet, so everything was rolling very slowly. I have to admit, now in the dry and faster conditions, this one isn't too bad. I even did one more run later on the day, and that one was actual fun. That's also the run you're watching now. The jumps just before the middle station are now very doable, and they changed the other line, so no more sketchy merges. I still know that Jonas and Pablo continue at the halfway point. However, here you also have the option to continue on bounce and blow, a line that's so much more fun, at least if you can clear most of the jumps. I know I said this video is about a safe build-up. Depending on your skill level, this might not be a good idea to commit to these jumps on your first run. For me, after spending a week in Leogang last year, these jumps were well within my comfort level by now. The only scary thing was the wind. Especially the jumps in the open had quite a bit of side wind, therefore I kept them low. Wind is still and will always remain the worst thing for jumping. Even the pros don't ride when there's too much wind. Now in the bottom section are probably the two best jumps of the entire park. I can't explain why these work so good. However, I felt so confident here that I almost threw a no-ender. Almost. Does this mean you might see me do some tricks in the future? I don't know. It would be cool to be able to style up my jumping, but I also want to stick with what works and not take too much risk. I hate to admit it, but I've come to realize that I reached the age that recovering from an injury takes a long time. After being out of action with a dislocated finger, I think it's better to stay safe. That's also what I did on the new, or at least for me they are new, jumps at the end. I know I can do those two jumps. Only hard part is the fact that you kinda have to do them both. During my first runs I was alone, so I opted for the corkscrew for now. Later when my friends arrived and I could get a toe in, I finally went for them. I have to say, the jumps are not that hard, just scary. The fact that you can fall off the side on the first one and have to jump over a wooden creation on the second one makes them even more mental than regular gap jumps. Although that wooden beam might also help me get a better arc. This is something I can still improve on a lot. All too often I focus too much on the landing, going straight from the lip to the landing, not following the natural arc of the jump. Now let's go back to the top for another option on this side of the lift. First I take time shift, a line that starts with a very awkward corner, to then lead into some tag. Not too hard, depending on your speed, to then end with some drops and jumps. Except for that awkward corner, I really like this line. Everything is just perfect in my skill level. Not that hard, but not a walk in the park either. From the halfway point I like to continue onto jukebox. The jumps on this line are a bit smaller than on bounce and blow, but they are more technical, what makes them more interesting for me. Deep! On straight jumps I can't or won't twist my bike. However, on these kind of hip jumps I have no issue turning my bike in the air, making jumps way more fun for me. Also, when over the mental scare of gap jumps, I have to say I think gap jumps are more fun. I'm all about riding safe, while also liking the jumps with a bit more risk. I know, sometimes my brain doesn't make sense. Anyway, while I show the rest of this line, let me apologize for the long time of not uploading any videos. Like I said, I was out with an injury for some time, and when I don't ride my bike, I'm also not motivated to make videos. Well, that's when I have the most time to do so. Then, after some time of not making videos, it only gets harder and harder to get back into it. I know I promised you guys a video of my vacation to Malaga in Spain, but videos like that turn out to be big projects, even harder for me to start working on. Therefore, I decided to make this video first, and probably will do some other videos of bike park days I've recorded since. Hopefully I will get to that Malaga video one day. Again, back to the top. Now before I go to the other side of the lift, there's a new trail, the Bike Republic of Solden trail. I have to say, this trail represents Solden very well. When you start riding it, you think it's fun, but after a while you realize it's not that special. Anyway, it's a nice trail to mix it up a bit and give you an extra option from the top to the middle. While I show a bit more of this line, let me ask you to subscribe. Since my upload schedule isn't that regular anymore, I'm not sure if the algorithm will recommend my videos. Hopefully a subscription will help with that. Time to move on to the more technical side of the park. Not sure if I should call it the right or the left side of the lift. Depends on from what side you look at it. Please let me know in the comments what you consider the right side of the lift. Anyway, on this side the trails are a bit more technical and less flowy. Although after riding in places like Finale and Malaga on my hardtail, I can't say this tech provides much of a challenge on the downhill bike. Only thing I had to get used to were the dusty corners. For some reason, probably due to the high amount of traffic, corners in bike parks ride way different than in enduro spots like Remochamp. The amount of dust on the inside of the corners makes them so scary. With a good line on the outside, it's not an issue. So during the day I will get better and better. The bottom of this side is a jump line. The first jump is pretty small, but it provides the right speed for the second jump. Now for the third jump. I feel like I need a bit more speed or commitment. Or I shouldn't take the larger option, but I feel in order to be able to clear the fourth one, I need the speed. Another pretty big jump, but a table jump. So as safe as a jump this size can be. There are more features in this bottom section. First a line with 2 drops into a step up. I have ridden this line once before, so it was hard to remember the speed, especially for the second drop. For saying I'm all about riding safe this day, you might think it's not smart to take the huge drop without knowing the speed. You're probably right. With the confidence of the downhiller, I went for it anyway and landed pretty deep. The downside of landing deep is that it costs you speed, so at this point I had no idea if I had the speed for the next step up. A jump I hadn't done last year, and to stay safe I didn't do it now either. This season is still long enough to get that one done. Next up is the groomer drop, one of the most iconic features in Green Hill. If there's ever a slow drop, this is it. It's almost impossible to go too slow on this one. As long as you don't drop your front wheel before your back wheel goes off the edge, you'll make it to the landing. There are a few features that I haven't ridden by now. One of them is even an entire line, the Mile High Club. Last time it was unrideable due to the wet conditions, and this time it was simply closed. That leaves one more feature. That's not on one of the lines made for the pros and the nines event. The feature I mean is the drop or step down in Mammoth. Before I get to that one, let me first show the rest of the trail. This is the hardest rated tech trail in the park. Last time in the wet I didn't even dare to try this line. Now when it's dry, again, not that hard for the downhiller. Of course, as with every tech trail you can always make it more challenging by going a tiny bit faster. Now it's time to finally address the big step down. Let's first take a look at it. That doesn't look safe. After that prank of my friends, let's look at some others ride it.
Daar heb ik meer aan dan die drop denk ik, want die moet ik echt even...
And do a run up myself. This one looks easy, if you have the speed right. Unfortunately, at this point I had no one to give me a tow in. I think I can estimate the speed, but I wasn't sure enough to go for it. So I went for the safe option, went around the drop and rode the fun jump line. While I show some footage of unofficial steeps, it's time for me to end the video. I truly appreciated that you watched my video, especially after my absence for so long. I hope to not keep you waiting so long again for my next video. but I think it's smart to not promise I'll release it next week. All I can say is, hopefully soon. I think it will be about my visit to Bike Park Lebrang, a trip where I deal with my issues on judging the speed needed for drops. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. As always, I hope to see you back for my next video, and of course, have fun riding in the meantime. Houdoe!